You didn't search for this video. This video searched for you. And the fact that you're hearing my voice right now means one thing. Something in your future has already found you. Not tomorrow, not soon. Now. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That quiet pull. That hum under your skin. The way everything ordinary suddenly feels like it's hiding a message. That's not coincidence. That's causation from the unseen. Your future self, the one already living the reality you've been imagining, just sent you a signal through the quantum field. And this is how it starts. Reality doesn't shout when it changes. It whispers. It rearranges. And it sends you proof disguised as random moments. So before we go any further, listen carefully. Because if you're watching this, you are in the middle of your assumption becoming real. You're closer than you think. Closer than you've ever been. Close enough that your old reality is starting to glitch. Close enough that the energy of your future is leaking into the present. That's why you've been restless lately. That's why time feels weird. That's why people you used to feel comfortable with suddenly drain you. It's not burnout. It's birth. You're not falling apart. Your frequency is outgrowing the shell it was trapped in. And if you stay with me, I'll show you exactly how to recognize the moment your assumption is about to cross over into physical form. Because there are 7 unmistakable signs, and once you understand them, you'll never mistake delay for denial again. Now let's begin. Here's sign number 1. Sign number 1. The disconnection phase. It starts with loss, not always something dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. A friend fading, a job feeling off, a space you once loved starting to feel too small. You think something's wrong. You try to fix it, reconnect, make it feel the way it used to. But no matter what you do, it doesn't click anymore. That's not rejection. That's replacement. The field is rearranging your reality, quietly removing what can't exist in your new frequency. Neville Goddard said, "Dare to assume, and the world will reshape itself around your assumption." This is that reshaping. It feels like disconnection, but it's divine subtraction. Everything that doesn't belong to the new you begins to dissolve. So if people leave, if plans fall apart, if the familiar starts to feel foreign, don't panic. That's not life turning against you. That's life making room for what you've already created in imagination. Sign number 2. Time distortion. The second sign is strange. Time starts to lose its rhythm. Days move fast, then slow. You'll glance at the clock and hours have disappeared. Or everything around you feels like déjà vu, like you've lived this moment before. That's because you have. You saw it in your imagination, and now the physical world is catching up. You begin to sense reality folding in on itself, the new and the old colliding. It's like watching 2 worlds overlap for a moment before one replaces the other. That's when you know the assumption has energy behind it. When the linear starts to feel circular, when the ordinary feels like memory, when your future feels familiar, because it is. You've already lived it in consciousness, and now it's just replaying in matter. After the storm settles, there's something new in the air. A rhythm you can't explain, like the world has started breathing in time with you. And that's when the 4th sign shows itself. Quietly, playfully, like reality is testing how closely you're paying attention. It begins small. You think of someone, and they text you. You imagine a scene and see it replay on television hours later. A number repeats everywhere. On receipts, license plates, clocks. You start to feel watched, but not in a bad way. More like the universe has its eyes on you. That's not superstition. That's synchronization. Your inner state is becoming the language of the outer world. The field you've been broadcasting is finally strong enough to bend matter around it. Neville once said, "Signs follow, they do not precede." That's what's happening here. You're walking through the proof of what you've already assumed. Every coincidence is a breadcrumb from your future self, leading you toward what's already done. People around you might shrug it off, They'll call it luck or randomness. But inside, you'll know. Because these moments feel alive. They hum. They feel charged, electric, almost sacred. And if you really pay attention, you'll notice a pattern. These echoes appear when you're calm, not desperate. When you stop searching, they find you. That's the secret. Reflection happens in stillness. So, don't chase the signs. Don't analyze or count them. Smile at them like an inside joke between you and the universe. Say quietly, "I see you. Thank you." That acknowledgement amplifies the signal. It tells reality, "I trust you now." The more you trust, the faster it aligns. Synchronicities multiply. Life begins moving with you, not against you. And for the first time, you realize you were never trying to attract, you were remembering. Then, just as quickly as the echoes appear, they begin to fade. The noise quiets, opportunities pause, people go silent, and you wonder if you've lost it, if the magic's gone. But that silence isn't absence, it's incubation. The field is recalibrating for something bigger, and that, right there, is the next sign. If you can feel something shifting inside you while you listen, that quiet recognition that this message was meant for you, then stay. Subscribe. This space exists to remind you that you are never waiting for change. You are the change. Then suddenly, everything stops. The noise that once surrounded you, the signs, the synchronicities, the rush of movement, it all fades. The people who used to text you daily go quiet. The ideas stop flowing. The excitement you felt just a week ago, gone. And that's when the doubt creeps in. You start to think, did I lose it? Did I mess something up? Was all that progress just in my head? No. This silence isn't punishment. It's preparation. This is the fifth sign. The stillness before the shift. It's the universe catching its breath before delivering what's already yours. And this is where almost everyone quits. You've probably felt it before. That moment when nothing seems to move, and you're tempted to panic, to force it. But what's actually happening here is far more profound. Reality is reorganizing behind the curtain. When you plant a seed, the first thing that happens is nothing. Days go by, the soil looks empty. But beneath it, roots are forming. Structure is taking shape in the unseen. The silence isn't failure, it's foundation. And yet, this is the hardest part to survive. Because silence doesn't feel spiritual. It feels like being forgotten. It tests your faith, not in the universe, but in yourself. Neville said, "Your faith is your fortune." And here's what he meant. Faith isn't loud. It's not the high of excitement or the buzz of constant signs. Faith is the quiet conviction that even when there's no proof, it's still done. So if your world feels quiet right now, stay calm. If the message is stopped, the people drifted, the progress paused, smile. You're right on time. This is the part where your vibration locks in. This is where the field tests your stillness. Because silence has a frequency of its own. It's the sound of reality, tuning itself to your new identity. So breathe. Let it be still. You don't need to chase, fix, or question. You just need to hold. And if you're still here, listening, really listening, that means you've already passed a test most people never even reach. You're calm when the world goes quiet. You're anchored when the energy pauses. That's not coincidence. That's mastery. And right after this calm, something extraordinary begins to stir. The silence cracks, and through it, reality begins to bend. And then, it begins. Without warning, the air feels different. You'll walk into a familiar place, but it's not the same. Colors look sharper. Time feels slower. You can't explain it, but the world seems to recognize you. This is the sixth sign, the quantum merge. It's the moment when the reality you've been imagining begins to overlap the one you've been living. It's subtle at first. A conversation feels like it's already happened. A face in the crowd feels strangely familiar. You start getting small wins that line up too perfectly to be random. And deep down, you feel it. You've already lived this before. That's not memory. That's alignment. You're standing at the intersection of two timelines. The one you've been and the one you've become. And for a brief moment, they exist together. You can literally feel the edges of the old world starting to dissolve. It's a strange sensation, half excitement, half nostalgia. Like saying goodbye to a life that used to fit, but doesn't anymore. The conversations that once mattered lose weight. The people who used to trigger you don't. You realize you've changed. And yet, the outer world hasn't fully caught up. You're in the in-between, one foot in the unseen, one in the visible. It feels like limbo, but it's actually the bridge of faith Neville spoke about. The bridge between assumption and embodiment. He said, persist in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled until that assumption hardens into fact. That's exactly what this merge is. The assumption hardening. The unseen crystallizing into form. You don't need to do anything special here. In fact, doing too much can break the alignment. Just keep being. Keep feeling from the end. Keep walking as the version of you who already has it. And here's the part few talk about. When two realities merge, your nervous system sometimes shakes. You might feel bursts of energy, chills, lightheadedness, like your body's struggling to translate what your soul already knows. That's normal. That's your biology catching up to your belief. Stay gentle with yourself. You're crossing dimensions. You're becoming the proof of your own assumption. And just when it feels too still, too quiet, too surreal, that's when the next shift happens. The merge completes. The old identity fully lets go. And in that exact moment, something extraordinary occurs. You stop wanting. You stop waiting. You stop trying to manifest. Because you finally feel the one thing your old self never could. If you're still here, it means your soul already knows the truth. This isn't just a video. It's your reminder. Subscribe, and let's keep remembering together. Because when you stay close to this energy, your world starts to move differently. And then, everything feels still. Not silent in a lonely way, silent in a holy way. You wake up, and something inside you feels finished. There's no urgency, no panic, no grasping for proof. You're just at peace. That's the seventh sign. The calm of completion. The desire that once kept you up at night, it doesn't burn the same anymore. It's not gone. It's fulfilled. You feel it like a secret you no longer have to say out loud. You start moving slower. Your energy becomes lighter. The same situations that used to shake you no longer do. You don't react, you respond. You don't chase, you attract. And somewhere inside, you realize something extraordinary. You're not waiting for the world to change. You're watching it mirror you. This calm isn't apathy. It's alignment. It's the peace that comes when the inner world finally matches the outer one. Neville called it living from the end. It means you've stopped reaching out to reality. You're living from what's already true within you. And it's in this calm, sacred silence that a single realization arrives. Soft, clear, unmistakable. It feels less like a thought and more like a decree echoing from deep within you. The words don't come from your mind. They rise from the core of your being. And as you hear them, something shifts forever. You whisper to yourself, I always have enough money. Not tomorrow. Not when the conditions are right. Not after more affirmations, more work, more effort. Now. Those words don't ask. They command. They don't come from lack. They come from knowing. Because wealth isn't something distant anymore. It's not a number, not a chase, not a someday dream. It's the frequency you've become. It's the answer you now represent. And the moment you speak it from that stillness, you feel the shift. The room feels lighter, the air thicker. It's as if everything around you just recognized who you really are. You don't say the words to make something happen. You say them because it already did. That's why this calm feels so powerful. It's the vibration of completion. The final breath before the new reality locks in. No more signs, no more waiting. Just a quiet knowing, and an unshakable truth. That wealth now speaks your name, and now, we've arrived. You can feel it. That still hum behind your ribs, the quiet power building in your chest. Something in you knows this moment isn't another lesson. It's a remembering. Because all this time, you weren't learning to manifest money. You were learning to stop believing you didn't already have it. This is the point where words stop being affirmations and become decrees. So as you breathe now, I want you to feel the truth that's been waiting to speak through you. Don't force it. Let it rise. Slow, calm, certain. Because when you finally understand that you don't need to ask, you realize you were the answer all along. And from that realization, the words come naturally. I always have enough money. Say it softly at first, then again, slower. Feel the weight of it settle in your body. I always have enough money. That's not a wish, it's not hope, it's the recognition of what's already true. Look back at your life. Somehow you always made it. Even in the hardest times, you found a way. Even when you thought it was over, something came through. You were never abandoned. You were provided for. That pattern wasn't luck. And it was law. The same law Neville Goddard spoke about when he said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and watch the world rearrange itself to reflect it." This is that feeling. Fulfillment. Completion. The vibration of enough. When you live from, I always have enough money, you stop chasing wealth, you start embodying it. You stop checking for signs, because you are the sign. And life mirrors that stability back to you. Bills get paid faster. Ideas open doors. Support appears out of nowhere, not as miracles, but as reflections of who you've become. Because that's what abundance truly is. Not more, but enough. Enough to breathe. Enough to rest. Enough to create. Enough to live with peace, instead of pressure. So from this moment on, let those words become your frequency. Not something you repeat to convince yourself. Something you remember every time fear tries to whisper. I always have enough money. Let it be your heartbeat. Let it be your state. Because the moment you feel that truth as real, the field adjusts instantly. Money stops being a chase. It becomes your echo. It answers you before you even ask. And as you sit here now, listening, something inside you knows this isn't the end. It's the turning point. Because the moment you stop searching for proof and start living from peace, life begins to overflow. You no longer wait for abundance. You walk as it. And from this state, everything, and I mean everything, begins to respond. So stay calm, stay faithful, stay certain. And if these words found you today, it's because your new life already has. Now, breathe once more and remember, you always have enough money. You've made it here, to the still point at the end of the journey, and maybe now you feel it. That soft, quiet peace that doesn't need proof. That subtle awareness that something inside you has finally clicked into place. You're not chasing anything anymore. You're remembering. You're remembering that you were never lacking, never behind, never forgotten. Everything you were searching for, the safety, the stability, the abundance, wasn't waiting in the world. It was waiting in you. And when you live from that knowing, life begins to rearrange itself with impossible precision. People appear right on time. Ideas unfold with ease. Money moves toward you without resistance. Not because you forced it, but because you finally believed there was nothing left to chase. I always have enough money. Say it again, not as a mantra, but as a memory. Because it's already true. Enough doesn't mean settling. Enough means complete. Enough means secure. Enough means that from this moment forward, you live with quiet confidence, knowing that everything you need will always arrive, not a minute early, not a second late, but right on time. And when fear comes knocking, as it sometimes will, you won't fight it anymore. You'll smile because you'll know that fear belongs to a version of you that no longer exists. You'll breathe, whisper your truth. I always have enough money. And the universe will respond instantly because it always recognizes its own echo. From this day forward, walk differently, think differently, expect differently. Move through the world like someone who is always provided for, because you are. Let every step, every breath, every choice carry the vibration of sufficiency. That's what abundance actually feels like. Not excitement, not obsession, but peace. And as you live from that peace, everything begins to align. The people, the timing, the opportunities. You'll look back on this moment and realize, this was the day you crossed the bridge. The day you stopped seeking and started remembering. So wherever you are in the world, take one last deep breath with me, in and out. Let the old identity fade, let the calm rise, and know, truly know, that your life has already shifted. Because the moment you accepted peace over pressure, you stepped into the flow of infinite provision. You will never have to ask again. You will only remember, you always have enough. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.